Alright, well, I don't particularly like to talk politics. However, our freshly minted mayor has made several major missteps that have cost our beautiful city too much for Calgarians not to take note of it. Gondek had been in office for less than 3 months and somehow found a way to undo years worth of work by insisting she put her stamp on the arena deal in its closing stages. She wanted to introduce new scope and cost to the Flames Group after the deal had been cut and subsequently renegotiated in good faith, and she showed her inexperience against a very shrewd ownership group with the Flames. Calgary, let me tell you, if we don't let her know that she needs to put us before herself, it's going to be a very long 4 years for our beautiful city. So how exactly did we get here? Well, let me take you through it. Okay, so we're talking about a real estate deal here. Now, it's not a simple one, it's a very complex deal and also just about as big as they come at over $600 million, but it's still a real estate deal, and I'll explain just how badly Gondek screwed it up for Calgary. In the arena deal, you can think of the city of Calgary as the commercial landlord doing what we call a build-to-suit leasehold deal with a commercial tenant. Calgary owns the land, and we would also own the new arena once it's done. But the tenant in this deal is the Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corp, or the CSEC. The CSEC also owns the Flames and would pay for a little more than half of the cost to build the arena and all of the cost to operate and maintain it. So what did the deal look like? Well, here are a couple details. The initial deal was cut in 2019. That is very important to note because prior to the pandemic, there was certainly a lot less risk related to the construction of an enormous state-of-the-art building designed to place people in close proximity to one another for live events. For the last 2 years, the Saddle Dome, like most every other arena in the world, has been mostly empty, generating very little revenue. Now, the deal was 50-50 on initial construction costs, also very common in large commercial build-to-suit deals, with many subtle items that are important to note, including, most importantly, that the CSEC would be on the hook for any cost increases during construction. Costs never go down for buildings like this, they always go up. And so in exchange for this risk, the CSEC wanted control over the design and construction. Perfect. So Calgary's anchor tenant is going to pay for half, be on the hook if costs go up, and they also get to take on the headache of managing the project and construction. In addition to that, Calgary scored a no-move clause for 35 years, meaning the Flames would be staying in Calgary long into the future. Solely on the basis of the real estate deal, this was a good one for Calgary. Yes, I know there was the expected public outcry about public funding for an arena to be used by billionaires for their millionaire hockey players to play in, but this is the way that business works. It won't only be the Flames using the arena, and anyone not keen on this deal because of this element is short-sighted and missing the bigger picture, which is that the new event center is only one component of a much larger vision for the east end of Calgary. I want to see our city grow, for people to move here and for us to reestablish our identity, for Calgary to be an example of great change being possible, and for us to emerge as more than just an old school oil town. This would be good for my business because more people means more real estate deals, and because my business is serving Calgarians, I feel compelled to speak up on this issue. If Calgarians want a vibrant city, then the arena project is essential, due to it being the catalyst for several other enormous projects in the area and the expected increase in tax revenues from boosted land values nearby. Projects like the $330 million renovation to the BMO Center, the rebuilding of the Arts Commons, and roadway constructions in the East End totaling over $150 million. Much of the funding for these improvements is to be derived from revenues generated by the arena project and the taxes generated from nearby properties. No new arena means no new tax revenue to fund other projects already on the drawing board. Now, everyone Everyone in Calgary knows that our once proud downtown is empty and that the world thinks of us as an old school oil town on the wrong side of the climate discussion. If we want that narrative to change, we need to change what people are talking about, and that can only be accomplished by taking action in new ways. Bold real estate projects that attract A-list events are a great way to do that. To lose the arena puts all of these projects at risk, and if cancel culture prevails, it will mean more of the same for Calgary. So, how did Gondek screw up such a good thing for us? Well, it was a cascade of issues that show she's not going to be a good mayor for us if she keeps putting herself before Calgarians. Firstly, she is out of touch with the increased economic uncertainty related to event centers as a result of the pandemic. This should be so obvious, but it didn't register for her that perhaps the CSEC could be getting cold feet about spending all this money on an arena during the pandemic where we can't gather in large groups. Rather than stick it to them for more money, we should have kept them on the hook to close this deal and use it to build momentum for all the other carefully planned projects needed for our city to succeed in a new way. She changed the deal at the last minute, asking the CSEC to absorb future costs related to climate change. Ridiculous to try and push for this given the increased risk to the project as a result of the pandemic. This deal was hammered out over years by smart people working together to see a state-of-the-art facility being built as part of a decades-long plan to wake up the east end of Calgary. And then Gondek has to come in and make her mark by inserting new terms into the deal. You can be sure the CSEC saw this as a sign of future climate crusades by her relating to this project, and so they backed out, fearful of more costs being thrown at them without their control. Gondek brought cancel culture into the picture, and Calgarians lose. When the deal was in its death spiral, she prioritized her image and fired up her Twitter account to go public about the cancellation when she should have been trying to save it. I'm sorry, but when you've been on the job for barely 2 months and the owner of the Flames calls you on the 21st of December to tell you that the new $600 million arena deal is off due to your insisted inclusions, you don't just jump on your phone and blab about it to the world. Your Christmas holidays are now officially canceled, and you get to spend them working to save the deal. She could have been the hero, but instead Gondek showed us that she prioritizes her agenda over the work done by others on a project already approved by the council that she actually sat on. She didn't show leadership by taking action and trying to save the deal. She could have offered to extend the deadline, buy some time to put in the work with the parties involved to achieve a compromise. Instead, she acted independently and out of turn by going public with the narrative that the CSEC should have expected these costs, showing a complete lack of respect to those within the city and CSEC that worked very hard to get the deal this far. So, in the end, a $600 million deal was lost over $10 million, plus a little more risk for the CSEC because Gondek wanted to change the deal. Now the deal is dead and a new one will have to be cut, and I'm almost positive Calgarians won't come out of it $10 million richer. It's just bad business, and it shows how out of touch our new mayor is. So what needs to be done? Well, a couple things. Firstly, someone needs to step up and become the ambassador for this, because it's obvious that Gondek is not a good negotiator, and I doubt very much the CSEC will work with her now. We need someone the CSEC can trust to get in there on behalf of Calgarians and bring this deal back to life. Secondly, Gondek needs to look in the mirror and ask herself if she sought election to satisfy her own ego, or if she recognizes that the job is really about being a proper steward for Calgary during a key time in our history. In just a few short months, she has revealed herself to be a bit of a self-absorbed eco-Karen, declaring a climate emergency, making a power play to oust a rival councillor, and now putting herself at the center of the arena debacle while publicly scolding her own chief of staff. A whole lot of talk about her and very little action to benefit Calgarians. Those who are close to her need to do the right thing and set her straight, or no one will want to do business here. Our downtown will remain empty, we will not grow, and it will be 4 more long years for a city that has had to tough it out through so much uncertainty already. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next video when hopefully I will be in a better mood and we'll have an arena deal. Thanks, guys.